The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of the Environmental Finance Center Network, welcome to our webinar, Creating a Water Workforce Pre-Apprenticeship. My name is Savannah Beckowski, and I work at the Syracuse University Environmental Finance Center. We have some fantastic speakers lined up for you today, but first there are a few logistics and housekeeping items that we do need to cover. First, everyone will be kept on mute to ensure audio quality. If you do have a question, just type it into the GoToWebinar question dialog box at any time throughout the session. All of the questions will be reserved for the Q&A at the end, but feel free to submit questions at any time during the presentation. We will be posting both the presentation and a video recording on our website. You can reach that website at www.efcnetwork.org. All of our webinars can be found under the Past Events tab. Again, we will post a recording and the presentation as soon as we can after this broadcast. You will also receive a follow-up email that includes a link to all of these materials. We do not submit our webinars to licensing agencies for pre-approval of continuing education credits. We do send certificates of participation and attendance as a courtesy. If you have joined this webinar with the intention of using it to support PDH or CEU hours, please know that we can only supply certificates after we verify your attendance. It can take 1 to 2 weeks to send out these certificates, and you must be here for the entire webinar to receive one. You do have to join this webinar using the unique join link you received when you registered. You must be viewing the slides and listening to audio. Again, we cannot guarantee that this webinar will meet requirements for specific CEU or licensing renewal needs. If you have any questions, please contact us at smallsystems@fir.edu. And for a little bit about the network, the Environmental Finance Center Network provides training and technical assistance to small public water systems in all U.S. states and territories to help local water systems achieve and maintain compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. And this network is a university-based network. Here you can see a list of all of our members. We work together to create solutions to difficult how-to-pay issues of environmental protection and improvement. And on that note, I'd like to introduce you to Pam Morosky from the Environmental Finance Center at California State University at Sacramento. Pam is the Education Programs Developer in the Office of Programs, and she will be giving you an overview of today's session and introduce you to our other collaborators. Pam, take it away.
Thank you, Savannah. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. Thank you for joining our webcast today. We hope you're going to take away some information and about the coverage of water workforce topics that will be helpful to you and your organization. We want to thank the EFC for allowing us to explicate and share the work that we're doing right now. We have assembled some education and industry partners. We are all working to create a pre-apprenticeship program that will funnel students into the Water Pro apprenticeship program through National Rural Water and California Rural Water, and that will develop a workforce pipeline for our industry. This will supply our region and hopefully your region with a young and diverse group of skilled workers, and we hope that you're going to be able to take away some tips so that you may be able to replicate this effort in your region. So pre-apprenticeship programs can be developed by schools, community organizations, or others, and they do lay the foundation for future apprentices. They have a similar structure to the registered apprenticeship program. Each pre-apprenticeship program establishes a connection to an existing apprenticeship program, and they both deliver hands-on as well as that classroom-based instructional learning. Through these programs, pre-apprentices are provided the opportunity to earn an industry-recognized credential, while they also have access to support services and career counseling. Next slide, please, Savannah. Thank you. So today you will hear from 5 panelists. We each represent education, industry, community-based organizations. We have partnered together to create a local pre-apprenticeship program that will benefit utilities as well as young people in our region. Training people who need jobs and connecting with them with the utilities who need workers provides multiple benefits and can help solve these workforce issues that we've been talking about. So you'll see us on the screen. My name is Pam, and I'm from the Office of Water Programs at Sacramento State. We also house the Region 9 Environmental Finance Center, the EFC at Sacramento State. We also serve state and local governments, tribal communities, and the private sector in our Region 9, and that includes California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii, and Pacific territories. We assist these entities in building capacity to fund drinking water, wastewater, stormwater projects, and plan for future needs as regulations, technology, and those resources change. Office of Water Program provides education and training materials for our industry. Dan DeMoss, the next one you see, is the Executive Director of California Rural Water Association, and he runs the State Apprenticeship Program. State Rural Water Associations provide training, technical assistance, resources, and information to assist water and wastewater utilities in achieving high standards of service. We also have 3 representatives from a local charter school, which is SciTech. That's the School for Integrated Arts and Technology. SciTech charter schools provide high school dropout recovery programs. They engage students through relationship-focused, high-tech, and rigorous learning experiences, and their motto is real learning for real life. South Sacramento Charter High School is a tuition-free high school that gives students a chance to earn a standard high school diploma in Sacramento. Deborah, you will see, is the Director of Youth Opportunity Programs. Henry, at the end, develops curriculum. And Kim is the principal of the local school with whom we partner in Sacramento. Each of us has a different insight into the process, and we will be available to answer any questions you may have at the end of the program. Next slide, please. Thank you. If you joined us for last week's webinar, we addressed the steps we took to create a competency-based credential for the water workforce. We do plan to use this credential in the pre-apprenticeship. So after students master the competencies that were identified by Rural Water, they will be awarded the credential, which will indicate to employers that they have the fundamental skills for those entry-level jobs. This webinar was recorded and is available on the EFC website. So if you're interested in creating a water workforce credential, the steps are laid out and available for you in that program. Next slide, please. So today we're going to talk about the 6 elements of a high-quality pre-apprenticeship program, and we will discuss how our organizations addressed each one of these elements in our program. We will cover the essential traits, and those include transparency, alignment, students have to be able to earn a credential, work-based learning should be included in a pre-apprenticeship, support services, as well as connecting a pre-apprenticeship to an existing apprenticeship. Now, pre-apprenticeships are not currently vetted like registered apprenticeships are, but in the U.S., the Department of Labor has outlined the elements that characterize a quality pre-apprenticeship, and other organizations like Jobs for the Future, which is JFF, they have also elaborated on these elements, and those are available for you. The elements of a quality pre-apprenticeship are outlined in the Training and Employment Notice, which is TEN 1312, and on both of those websites, as well as the Job for the Future website. Some states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin are beginning to formally recognize high-quality pre-apprenticeship programs that incorporate these elements. Next slide, please. But first, Savannah from EFC has a poll question for you, and the information will help us customize our delivery to meet your needs. So what we want to know is what type of agency you represent, whether it's private or utility, a technical assistance group, a workforce board, or other.
Thanks, Pam. So that poll is out. I do see that folks are voting on this now. We'll keep this poll open for just a few more seconds here. And we'll get ready to close this poll in about 3, 2, 1. So it looks like we have 40% of folks from water, wastewater utilities. The next big section comes from other types of agencies or entities. We also do have some technical assistance agency folks with us and private firm with us.
Okay, great. Thank you, Savannah. So pre-apprenticeship can help, since the majority of you are utilities, 40%, it can help you by developing those math skills and the safety and the hands-on experiences that sometimes our incoming workers who are brand new to the industry don't have. So pre-apprenticeship can play a significant role in developing a skilled and diverse workforce for small and medium utilities. Next slide, please. Thank you. So water workforce needs, there's an increased focus on those within the last few years. A number of reports have been published, and we all know of the impending workforce shortage. In February of last year, the legislative outline for infrastructure directed specific funding to high schools to promote strategies such as apprenticeship, work-based learning, dual enrollment. Another major report, which most of y'all are mostly likely aware of, is from Brookings, and this one received national attention, and it helped to spur the newest water workforce initiative in response. The issues have been identified, and a lot of us are well aware of them. We know that several factors contribute to this shrinking labor pool. One of them is an aging workforce. Retirements reduce the pool of skilled and qualified workers, and it's creating those vacancies of up to 50%. Another factor is the lack of public visibility in our sector. In fact, some people call us the hidden industry because no one notices these workers unless they're not there. In addition, fewer students are interested in or are participating in career and technical education programs in high school. And then finally, hiring procedures and certification roadblocks often make it hard to even launch a career. So some states require a year of experience or even more before awarding certification. We also know that diversity is a challenge. The industry is dominated by white males, and their average age is 47. Next slide, please. So this increased attention to this workforce need has catapulted some funding to solve these issues. America's Water Infrastructure Act, which you've probably heard of, provides grant money for the planning, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of programs. Funds were recently designated in California through the Safe Drinking Water Fund, and that's designed to help small systems comply with the Safe Drinking Water Act. We just learned Friday that San Francisco Public Utilities Commission received a $1 million grant funding for workforce efforts. So we learned that on Friday, and we're looking into more information on that. So the funding will also develop some workforce solutions, which are being discussed in some work groups and think tanks as we speak, probably. Slide, please. Thank you. So we know that there's some water, that the water issues are being addressed, but those workforce issues are throughout the entire United States. Starting from the top of this pyramid, the slide shows some alarming statistics from a report published just last year. By next year, 2020, 65% of jobs in the United States will require some sort of post-secondary education. And in addition, the U.S. will face shortages of 5 million workers with technical certificates and credentials. And this explains why some of our systems, our small water systems, are having trouble finding those qualified workers. Today, 29 million adults have no high school diploma. And even when they do go to college, 65% of students are referred to developmental education, and only 1 in 4 complete a credential within 8 years. And that means math and writing or reading skills below college level. So these are the people you might see applying to your facility. More than half of U.S. 25-year-olds have no post-secondary credential, and those are alarming. So we know there's a need. And so now I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn it over to Dan, who administers our Water Pro apprenticeship program in California. He's going to tell you a little bit about apprenticeship in general, as well as what's going on at our local level in the state of California. Thank you, Dan. Next slide, please, Savannah.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. I appreciate it. Registered Apprenticeship is a program from the United States Department of Labor that connects job seekers looking to learn new skills with employers looking for qualified workers. Employers, unions, or other sponsors provide apprenticeship with paid on-the-job learning and academic instruction that reflects industry needs. The goals of such instruction is to provide workers with advanced skill sets that meet the specific needs of their employers. Cornerstones of apprenticeship are paid employment with wage increases commensurate with skill gains, structured on-the-job learning supervised by a quality mentor or supervisor, and typically a year or more, related training and instruction that complements on-the-job learning, ongoing assessment of skills development, culminating in a recognized post-secondary credential. Registered apprenticeship is a bridge and a way to get from the skills deficit that Pam mentioned over to the credentials and jobs, which is where we want to be. Next slide, please. Apprenticeships are very effective and benefit employers, employees, unions, and other stakeholders. For employers, the program provides a pipeline of skilled workers enrolled in customized programs that meet a variety of the employer's needs. Workers receive a paycheck that is guaranteed to increase as their training and skill levels increase. Apprentices also complete a combination of industry-specific classroom education and hands-on career training, leading us to nationally recognized portable certificates of completion. The number of active apprentices is shown on the map on your screen. Only 25% of the apprentices registered in the United States are union affiliated. California has almost 90,000, followed by South Carolina and Michigan, each with over 12,000. 91% of apprentices are employed in their field of study after completing an apprenticeship program. To the left, you will see that most apprentices are male. The red line represents men. The green line represents women. So we have some work to do in diversifying apprenticeship participation and opportunities. Next slide, please. California Rural Water Association program currently has 27 registered apprentices with 21 active and 14 participating utilities. CRWA's network of utilities consists of 1,100 rural communities across the state with potential utility participation as high as 90 to 100 utilities at any given time. CRWA has just received 12 new commitments from the Kern County and High Desert regions. Will start a regional apprenticeship training attached to be starting in January 2020 to serve those communities interested in participating in that area. There's always room for growth and continuing expansion. As SciTech graduates gain employment at small utilities, the CRWA apprenticeship program enrolls apprentices who are already employed by a utility, which is an incumbent program. So we saw an opportunity to partner with SciTech to train and certify students who are not yet employed so that the utilities have a pool of qualified workers for entry-level jobs. Utilities and small water systems often face a considerable challenge developing a talent pipeline to fill beginning to middle skilled jobs. Pre-apprenticeship addresses this and can save employers time and money on recruiting and training new employees and reduce turnover because employees arrive with an understanding of the job, they understand the tasks that they will be expected to perform, and the pre-employment screening they need to pass. Apprentices also arrive with a grounding in safety and other basic training that prepares them to receive additional on-the-job training specific to the utility needs. The coursework completed through the credential will count toward apprenticeship coursework, so there will be no duplication of study. This benefits the students who will exit the program faster, as well as utilities with less cost requiring. In addition, there is a pathway via these programs to obtain a one-year certificate from CSUS Office of Water Programs and or a two-year associate degree in water or wastewater management via the California Community College system. I'll turn this over to Deborah, who can tell you more about the education components of the pre-apprenticeship. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Dan. Now I'd like to take everyone through some important factors we considered when creating our program. The most important consideration for a pre-apprenticeship is that it's designed to prepare individuals to enter and succeed in an apprenticeship program. So pre-apprenticeship programs involve formal partnerships with at least one apprenticeship program sponsor, like Dan and the CRWA. In addition to linking directly to a registered apprenticeship, a pre-apprenticeship also prepares people from underrepresented populations for high-quality employment opportunities. It's a bridge to career opportunities for students, new workers, or underprepared workers, and it increases diversity and equality throughout the apprenticeship and workforce systems. And it provides the essential instruction, preparation, and supports that participants need to be successful in the next step in their career paths. Sciatech is in a unique position because of our student population and need. Next slide, please. Sciatech is a network of fully accredited public charter high schools committed to providing a premier high school dropout recovery program, resulting in real learning for real life. Next slide, please. Sciatech consists of 16 classroom and independent study sites throughout California, from Sacramento in the north and south to San Diego. We serve disconnected youth ages 16 to 24, many of whom have significant barriers to employment. We currently enroll over 2,000 students, and 200 of them in the Sacramento region. Our motto is real learning for real life. And from our beginnings on the federal Job Corps campuses in California almost 20 years ago, our goal has been to equip students with education and job skills that lead to family-sustaining employment after graduation. Sciatech's an ideal partner on this project because we have a student population interested in quality job training leading to good jobs, and we can easily expand the program across our site statewide once we successfully launched it here in Sacramento. At this point, I was going to turn over the presentation to the principal of our Sacramento school, Kim Moore, but she's having some technical difficulties at the moment, so I'm going to take her slide for her. So next slide. Sciatech Sacramento Charter School is a tuition-free high school that gives students a chance to earn a standard high school diploma in Sacramento. Sciatech Sacramento Charter School is fully accredited, and our high school is A through G qualified. On the screen, you'll see an example of the growth of two of our pathways in Sacramento, the agriculture pathway and the health pathway. Agriculture saw an increase from 10 to 30 students in a period of 2 years, which shows the demand and growth potential for these type of programs. Sciatech student schedules rarely line up to traditional academic calendars, and students have, on average, already completed about half of the courses they need to graduate when they enroll with us. Many of our students face non-academic struggles, and Sciatech utilizes the linked learning model, which is an approach and not a program. Learning is about college and a career, and it's for all students regardless of achievement level. All of our pathways begin with a professional skills component and then dive a little bit deeper into pathway-specific topics. In addition, we weave relevant career information into our core classes, and we have career and college counselors for all of our students. California Rural Water Apprenticeship Program is a good fit for our students. Our curriculum specialist, Henry Davis, is now going to take you through the components that we considered and incorporated into our water pre-apprenticeship program from a curriculum standpoint. Henry?
Thank you, Deborah. So I'm going to kind of take you guys through to the finish line here and go over some of these details that we've talked about. So first of all, some of the components of a high-quality apprenticeship and how we incorporate each of these components into our services and curriculum. So we ensured that the program was transparent and aligned with industry standards. That's really important to us to make sure that our students have those industry standards so that when they get out to the career that they're going into, they're prepared and they know what they have coming for them. We also want to make sure that students would earn a credential. Credentials are really important to us and to our students because it demonstrates that they have the commitment to be successful in anything they pursue, and also lets us as employers know that they have done some of this work. They're prepared. They're going to save you some of that time by having these credentials. We want to make sure that they experience learning activities at the utilities as well as in the lab. It's important to us that you know that they have had some of this experience, because when they come to you, it makes them that much more valuable as a potential employee to know that they've seen some of these things and they understand what goes on in the real world. We want to make sure that they receive support from everybody involved in this process, and that we wanted to make sure that it was all connected to Dan's apprenticeship program. Now, the goal of any apprenticeship is to increase registered apprenticeship opportunities for underrepresented, disadvantaged, or low-skilled individuals. Another reason why we're such a great fit is because we do have a lot of students that fall into that category, such that upon completion, they will meet the entry requirements, gain consideration, and success in more registered apprenticeship programs. Making sure that they're prepared and ready is important. So entry and success requirements means that the rules must be clearly spelled out and communicated to the participants. That's really important, that they know what they're looking at and what they're up against, and that they're prepared for that, for their success. So to ensure some of this transparency, we made sure that we articulated entry requirements, such as academic requirements in writing. Students are required to test at a 9th grade level or higher of math and reading before they can enter the program. We made sure that we measure skills through competencies, competency checklists, so that they will earn a valid industry recognized credential. We made sure that we worked with Dan and figuring out what some of those industry recognized skills are. We also cover fees for drug testing and certification, and requirements that cannot be overcome by program supports are also addressed. For example, if it's a drug conviction, we let them know it could affect their ability to work at a certain utility. We work to remove the barriers if possible, and we offer interventions such as remedial math or reading instruction to help students meet standards to enter the program. It's important that we cover those things, especially with our students, so that they know what things they have to do. And we have a lot of these academic programs in place to prepare the students for bolstering their academic skills. Work with Dan to ensure alignment with the skills that the water industry needs. So our curriculum that we have developed addresses things like employability skills, teamwork, reliability, showing up on time, dressing appropriately, being prepared for the workday. The skills and academics credential that we created ensure that students meet the entry-level requirements in training, entry-level requirements. The training pathway includes choices like water treatment or distribution. A motivated and capable student may choose both pathways. It was important to us to make sure that they had options and that the students saw the benefits of doing these programs and how they can benefit from being involved in multiple programs. One thing that we really wanted to ensure is that not only did we work with the students that are motivated to do multiple pathways, but that we motivated as many of our students as possible. And one of the things that Pam alluded to earlier is that there is a disparity in the industry as far as the diversity of the employees. So it's really important to us that as we developed a lot of these programs and was talked about how do we create this pathway, we really targeted those students that we feel are underrepresented in the industry as well. So it was important to us to work with our young ladies and also work with our students of different ethnic backgrounds, and also not let things like that feel like a barrier to those students. It's important that they felt that they can be successful in this industry as well. And so that's the big thing for us, was targeting those underserved populations. And we do work with Job Corps and WIOA, and we don't consider these students at risk, we consider them at promise. And that's really important for us to talk about as well, is that verbiage that we use. And historically, we've used terms like at risk, at least in California, and we have changed policy in this state now to refer to these students as a promise, because really they are the promise of this next generation, and especially for industries like this, we want to encourage them and help them feel that they can be successful. So next slide, please. So our program culminates in one or more industry recognized credential that support direct entry into the workforce. You know, it was really important to us, for me especially as a curriculum developer, but to all of us, it was really important to us to make sure that we looked at the credentials and that these credentials support what's needed in the workforce. The most important thing that we can do for our students and for anybody that's involved in a pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship is give them all the information they need to be successful. You know, and I think it's really important as well for the employers and for the utilities to also feel like if they get one of these people that have been involved, that they know these students are prepared, that they have the skills that they need, that they know what to expect. And that saves you time as well, because they have some of these things that you don't have to worry about with the training. So it was important to us to include organizations like this organization and to have them reach out to other resources as well to say, hey, what are some of the things that you guys feel should be on a certification, so that if you see that this applicant comes in and has this on their application, you can feel confident and say, not only do we know that those skills are there, we helped provide some of the resources and we helped provide some of the areas that we felt were important to us. The other thing that was important to us is transferability of their credits and ensuring that these things are stackable and portable. And we say things like stackable and portable, especially in education, but it's really important because we know that for a lot of our students and a lot of our employees, they're going to continue to add to their skill set as they work for you. And we want to make sure that the on and off ramp was available to them to be able to say, hey, I'm coming in with you guys with this certification today, but know that as I continue with my employment with you, I can add on top of it. And I want to know that the work I did here will also help me to the next step, and then that work will help to the next step. So it's really important to us that they can continue to add to those credentials. And some of the ways we also ensure that were that they can earn articulated credits into the apprenticeship program. And Dan referred to that, where these things will stack on each other, and as they roll into the next part of the program, they've done some of the prior work. And then also through community colleges. So we want to make sure that students can earn college credit while they're doing this program as well. We embedded the preparation for these credential exams by arranging for students to participate in test review and help them with the application. Again, it's really important to us to make sure that the students have the skills that they need and that we support them at this level so that when they get to you guys, you know, hey, these students have been prepared. This is a program that I can get behind because I know that they've taken the time to make sure these students have what they need and that they can be successful when they come to me. Next slide, please. So one of the big things that was important to us was embedding work-based learning into the curriculum and to provide really meaningful hands-on training that doesn't displace the paid employees. I know we've talked about it multiple times. It's, how do you get a job if you don't have the experience? But how do you get the experience if you can't get the job? It's kind of like this ongoing circle. So we want to make sure that our curriculum included things like simulated lab experiences by the California Rural Water Association. We wanted to make sure they had visits to various water plants to observe operators use proper supervision and safety protocols. We know that for industry, safety is top priority, and we want to front load all of our participants with that knowledge that they have to be prepared to be professionals. And one of the big things for that is to make sure that you're safe. And we want to make sure that they, we can tell them that in the classroom all day long, but if we can get them into the sites and they can see protocols and procedures and work-based learning, it's really important to see that because that brings it all to life. It also gives them a better appreciation of what they're going to be doing. And so these embedded activities are really structured and clearly validated through the competency checklist. If you're on the prior call, we discussed that competency checklist. We're constantly going back and making sure that we're referencing that, double checking that we're hitting all those points we need to hit, and valuing and bringing in the information that you guys have provided to us. And so for students, like I said, these experiences help them develop an understanding and ability to navigate the water industry, and it creates a culture and develops a knowledge of workplace policies and procedures that are really important. Next slide, please. So our water pre-apprenticeship offers academic and wraparound and career supports. It's really important that we provide these supports all the way around to our participants. So the support services are those that assist participants to qualify for and maintain participation in pre-apprenticeship and our apprenticeship programs. That's really important. We want to make sure that we constantly encourage our students to make sure they're doing what they need to be doing. But also we have to let them know that there are certain things that they do have to accomplish because that's how the world works. So we're providing them real world experience, but we're also supporting them to make sure they can get to that point. And they assist the participants with assessed or expressed need in order to ensure their success, making sure they know they can come to us if they have questions or need support, completing the pre-apprenticeship program, gaining employment, acquiring necessary skills, or addressing any other barriers that they may have. So it's important that pre-apprenticeship organizations may directly provide support services or facilitate the provision of support services through referrals. The intent is to ensure support services are available and emphasize the importance of such services being integrated into pre-apprenticeship programs. ETA has determined that youth-build programs that receive funding from the U.S. Department of Labor meet the requirement of this definition of pre-apprenticeship. And so our program provides orientation to the industry and exposure to a wide range of occupations, exposure to career paths and wages, and information about job opportunities. And we make sure that they know where to find them as well. And our students develop a career plan to identify short and long-term goals and also potential barriers and possible solutions. And then we also make sure our wraparound supports includes tutoring, case management, and access to resources for childcare, transportation, or whatever their needs may be. Next slide, please. So transitioning into a registered apprenticeship is, of course, a big goal of our program. And this means that we have to maintain strong partnerships with industry, employers, and public workforce systems. So we work with our program sponsor, that's Dan and the CRWA, to determine selection, preference, guaranteed interviews, and direct entry. We also facilitate advanced standing. When the curriculum of the pre-apprenticeship overlaps with the registered apprenticeships, students receive credit for prior learning, as Dan alluded to earlier. And for graduates who do not enter a registered apprenticeship, we provide pathways to post-secondary training programs, as well as to employers in related fields for interviews. So our water apprenticeship program is now boosting training. So we owe participants in pre-apprenticeship programs where Canada is receiving training services. We're promoting diversity. Pre-apprenticeship and registered apprenticeship programs offer career pathways for the various adult and youth populations served by the WEOA programs. And again, like I said, promoting diversity is a big goal of our program as well, to ensure that we provide that well-rounded base. Enhancing job placement. We owe participants that complete the pre-apprenticeship program and enter a registered apprenticeship program are counted as positive placements into employment. And also improving our important workforce indicators. Placing pre-apprenticeship participants into registered apprenticeships may result in improved outcomes in other key areas, such as employment retention rates and average earnings, degree or certificate attainment, and gains in literacy and numeracy skills for youth. That's a really big win for all of us. So these 6 components led to the design of our program and curriculum. Following the outline helped us understand the importance of each part and ensured that we address student needs. The model is instrumental in getting the program in place and will facilitate moving the program to other parts of the state when we have perfected it. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Pam and the EFC. So if you have any questions, please make sure you ask them in the panel. And Pam, next slide, please.
Sorry about that, Savannah. Can you go back to one slide, please?
Of course.
Thank you. So those are the 6 elements that were outlined in the Department of Labor Training and Employment Notice 1312, and also by the Jobs for the Future. We used each one of those as we were developing our curriculum and our support services. It's important that we outlined each one and how we would meet that goal there. So we had to really put everything in writing and specify very clearly how we were going to make this transparent to students, and how we would include the work-based learning. Now, in our outline, we've included costs, the materials that will be used, the activities that Dan will offer our students at his lab at California Rural Water, and those include lab and water testing, backflow. So there's also some secondary credentials that students can earn in the program through those work-based learning. So those are the 6 elements that we did include. Next slide, please. So thank you. We want to thank you for everyone who joined our webinar today to at least examine the process of creating a pre-apprenticeship program and following that outline that will give you all the elements that you should follow. And although each of those components is very important, what we found through the research and the literature is that that most important link is the link to apprenticeship. So it has to link to a program, a registered apprenticeship, or a couple of different registered apprenticeships. So although those additional components do support student success, it is important that they have math tutoring and that we address their math skills. But having that somewhere to go after that pre-apprenticeship is critical. And then we do hope to share more information as our program develops and progresses. Once our funding is in place and we have some graduates, I'm sure that we'll have some lessons learned from our experiences, and we would like to share those with you. And our panelists are here to answer any questions that you may have. Again, we want to thank you for joining us and Savannah, and also let you know that the technical assistance and the evaluation link, Savannah's going to supply that on the next slide or in an email. Savannah?
Yes. Sorry, Pam, were you finished there?
Yeah, we just want to let us know if there's any additional questions or topics you want to see addressed in that evaluation link. And we are here to answer any questions that you have right now. And if we don't get to all of the questions today, then we'll certainly respond to you by email. Thank you, Savannah.
Thank you, Pam. So as Pam said, I'm just going to send out one last poll question regarding some technical assistance. The Environmental Finance Center Network does provide free technical assistance to small water systems across the U.S. If you would like to learn more, please let us know and we can get you connected with an expert. And I'm going to get ready to close that poll in a few moments here. And we'll get ready to close that in 3, 2, 1. And lastly, I will be sending out an evaluation link in the chat box. It's coming to you all now. So if you could please just please let us know how everything today went. If you have a few moments. That is not copying right now. Sorry about this, folks. It's coming. You will receive a follow-up email with this link. I don't know why it's not linking right now, so you will receive that link to give us an evaluation in the follow-up email. And so lastly, we will move into the Q&A with our speakers. I am going to start reading questions out, and Pam, you can take it away and direct as needed.
Sure.
All right. Oh, we have quite a few questions today. So the first question we received is, how do you see a very small water system being able to participate in the apprenticeship program?
We have a number of small water systems that are participating. Depending on how, if they're talking about pre-apprenticeship versus apprenticeship, I'm assuming they're talking about apprenticeship. It depends on how the training is going to be delivered. Here in California, we started out at our training center here in Sacramento. As I noted in the talk, we are now progressing to a regional training center. So we'll be doing the same program, but in a different part of the state, up into Tehachapi, which is the southern portion of the state almost. And there's a bunch of small desert systems with 1 or 2 operators that will be participating. Our program's designed, we do 2 days of training per month to fulfill the apprenticeship requirements. If we are looking in the Tehachapi area, once we get the apprenticeship program established, we will be looking to establish a pre-apprenticeship program, either with SciTech or if their campuses aren't available, then with maybe a local high school. So that's kind of how we foresee it.
And Dan, to add to that, for very small water systems, we also found SciTech is a small charter school, but also a good source of pre-apprentices, because a lot of this could be self-study. If you hook them up, the pre-apprentice, with a sponsor, that adult schools or any non-traditional school where maybe they have a lot of non-traditional type students, then this curriculum is conducive to self-study with a mentor. So it is something that you might want to talk to some of your local education providers, maybe not in a big school if you're a small system, but you do have schools within your community. So within your high school, you wouldn't have to have an entire class of 30, but you may have some non-traditional students or some students who are struggling with maybe the academic component and don't want to go to college. You may have a group of students there. So I would encourage, if you're in a small water system, to make those relationships, form the relationships with your local school systems, and see if there were maybe 5 students who could participate, or even if it's just 1, you know, it could start that pipeline that would feed your utility with workers. Deborah or Henry, do y'all have any suggestions for small water systems?
No, I would just concur with your recommendation to reach out to smaller schools and non-traditional agencies.
I know
great
some
place to start.
Exactly. Those agencies maybe would be your reentry population. So some of your workforce boards might be able to offer this too. And we'll be happy to share with you our outline of curriculum and materials that could be adapted to reentry agencies or workforce boards who promote training. So it doesn't actually have to be with an education institution. It could be with other organizations, community organizations within your community.
Thank you, Pam. So we have a few regional questions. If anybody on the panel knows if they're doing pre-apprenticeship programs either in New York State or Nevada State.
I'm not sure of any that in those 2 states, but I'll be happy to send you some information if you want to forward them to the EFC, and they will forward them to me. So that would be New York, and where's the other one, Savannah?
Nevada.
Nevada. And that, are we looking at
from a
specifically
rural water standpoint? There's not anything in either one of those 2 states for pre-apprenticeship right now.
So there's no pre-apprenticeship in either one of those states for water?
From a rural water standpoint, yes.
From a rural water.
You can say that.
Okay.
So yeah, if there's any more information regarding those 2 questions submitted, you can give us an email and we can clarify that with the panel.
Sure.
We did receive another question, and it asked, can a local high school use these guidelines for apprenticeships? So beginning at a high school level.
Absolutely. What we have found, it was a little more difficult forming those relationships within the high schools, although we have, and we do enter into the high schools to provide career exploration. At this point, I'm positive that all of the high schools are mandated to provide career exploration for their high school students. This is not just for academic, the academic track, but also for all of them, or vocational career and technical education for all students. So they have to provide some opportunities to explore those. What we do is we participate in a lot of career fairs. We go to the classrooms and do presentations on the 212 different careers that are available within the water industry and the millions of people that our industry hire. A lot of our students, there's a gap in the knowledge between, I think many of them are pretty much aware of their water source, whether it's groundwater, surface water. They're aware of the source, and a lot of water utilities have done a really great job of providing educational, maybe field trips and educational materials to show students where their water actually comes from. Where we found the gap is after they use the water and it's now wastewater, the students really don't have an idea of where that goes from there. So there is an opportunity for you to go in and provide those sorts of career exploration activities. But in addition, all of your high schools offer career education programs. So there might be a good fit within an agricultural or a utility career pathway. So they all have different career pathways, and you might want to look into your local high school to see what career pathways they offer. I would begin by probably reaching out to the career and technical, I think it's called career education coordinator now, who oversees all of those career education programs, and they might be able to show you where a good fit would be. In any case, the curriculum as far as the math and the science concepts are really conducive to dual credit, where they could receive high school and college credit if you have a local community college who offers water treatment technology as a certificate or a degree. So there's potential for high school as well as college credit, dual enrollment. I know there's some places in Florida that are doing that now, and there's some model institutions. St. John's Technical Academy actually has a water and wastewater training in their high school. So there is potential to fit it within a career education program. And partner with your local utilities or small utilities. What's important is that all of the high school funding is tied to industry involvement. So the more you are involved with your local school systems, the more opportunity there is for you to get this curriculum inside that high school and help them not only meet their goals, which they're graded on those, of working with the industry partners. So before they can receive any Perkins funding, which is career and technical education funding, they have to show that they've partnered and worked with local community organizations, and that's our small water systems.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, that was a really great answer, Pam, and you've got it absolutely right. As a high school, we have to report on a college and career readiness of our students, and one of the ways we show that we're preparing our students for college and career is by exposing them to different careers and providing them with some of the training they need to get started in those careers. And industry Partnerships are an absolute requirement for those programs. The apprenticeship program is probably a little more difficult to deploy in a high school setting just because of the work requirements, and especially in a comprehensive high school where you have a fixed classroom day and fixed school year. That's pretty challenging. But a pre-apprenticeship fits nicely. You can build the curriculum into the core classes, creating a technical math course instead of the standard algebra course. It still hits all of the content standards, providing the work-based learning, et cetera, and with the key component being that connection to a registered apprenticeship. And you can set your students up quite well for moving into one of those apprenticeships upon graduation. But even if you don't go the route of a pre-apprenticeship, you can still get involved with your local high school, provide mentors, provide job shadowing, work-based learning experiences, and guidance on the curriculum so that students, upon graduation, can pursue either a pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship or go on to community college or beyond.
Thank you, Deborah. Also, if the teachers know, then the students will know. But if the teachers aren't aware that we are here, that your utility is here, that you're willing to participate, then the students won't know. So that relationship is the most important. They have to know you're here, and once they know, they will utilize you.
Yeah, great point. So outreach is a critical component of any successful program.
Thank you, guys. So I guess to piggyback off of that, an attendee has asked if there's any specific directions for a tribal nation to become involved or develop a pre-apprenticeship program.
So the pre-apprenticeship can be developed by schools, community organizations, and so there's a lot of flexibility there. And I think I'm not very familiar with the tribal schools, but I'm pretty sure that you guys have a CE component in tribal schools. So you would just work together to create the curriculum and link it to an apprenticeship program in your area. So they don't have to be developed by experts, because you do have experts at your disposal that you can use with the Department of Labor or Jobs for the Future, or you can contact, any of us, and we will definitely help you. But it is something that can be done certainly at a local level.
Wonderful. So the next question that we have is, where are the biggest gaps in the required skills and capabilities in the water workforce?
Dan, will you know where the gaps are in our workforce?
Okay, sure. I think that the biggest gaps specific to the industry, to the water wastewater industry, speaking in terms of the pre-apprenticeship programs, is going to be in the basic skills. So given the fact that a lot of shop programs, vocational programs are gone, career training programs are gone from the high school level, kids in high school age folks are not using their hands like they may have in the past in a different generation. So I think some of the basic uses for and skills using hand tools, that kind of stuff, and we kind of address that in our credentialing, working with SciTech. I think also some of the soft skills, possibly, in that they will need to be able to interview. Most utilities have, a fairly in-depth process they go through in hiring, even the smaller rural systems. So again, we work with SciTech on that, and Pam developing, in the credentialing process and some training and requirements for that. As far as industry-specific water to wastewater, math, chemistry, basic chemistry, that kind of stuff is going to be addressed in the pre-apprenticeship too. So the gaps there, I think that's the value of the pre-apprenticeship program. We're going to be getting students that come out of that that have some skills, basic skills that are directed, that we've identified that we need for the utility agencies. And so those are some of the gaps. We had quite a long conversation and a process development. Those are some of them.
Thank you, Dan. So Pam, we are coming up. It's 3 o'clock on the dot. If there are no more questions that I have queued, but if there are any follow-up questions, again, there will be an email provided to all of you that attended with us today. You can ask those questions and we'll make sure that our panel of experts gets those answered for you. At this time, Pam, is there anything else you would like to say?
Just thank you for joining us, and we hope that we can provide some more coverage of water wastewater topics. Be sure to include those, and we'll try to address those as the need arises. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.